Let's get started in 1 minute. Hello all, thanks for joining. Thanks for this wonderful session for joining in on navigating uncertainty of the impact of the leadership profiles. So on this segment, we have our presenter. We have our distinguished presenter Radhika Rani. She's a combinator of a trainer and an entrepreneur, having a wide variety of skills for at least past 2 decades. She comes from a very strong background, starting her career with ICICI Bank, having worked on retail segments on banking, with the front office executives on regular day-to-day affairs, with mostly on transactions and banking operations. From there, she had multiple ventures on to as entrepreneur with civil projects, and eventually on to a teacher and trainer. With trainer, she is mainly focused on the BFSI domain, training on multiple employees, ranging from that of uh, the junior young graduates to that of typical enterprise level folks. With this, I hand over to Radhika for her presentation on what we intend to discuss today. Please welcome Radhika. Radhika, over to you.
Thanks, Arvind. Thanks for the detailed introduction. So let's move on to the session. It's all about exceptional leadership, and as you all come across in your daily situations, right? You have to navigate through a lot of uncertainties, and that is where your leadership qualities come into picture. So let's cover some points related to that. And at the end, we'll also look into some case studies, some typical stories, some aspiring leadership stories and all that. I'll make sure that you have something interesting and not just the typical theoretical part, okay? So as we all know, like it's all about great leadership. It is not that, like when everything is okay and then everything is calm, you don't find great leadership, right? It is always like we see on the other side, like when there is a storm or when there is some kind of uncertainty, that is where the great leadership comes into picture, isn't it? And normally as leaders, like what do we do in our day-to-day activities as leaders? You manage, you plan, you optimize things. That is how it goes, right? But that is not true always, because we have uncertainty striking at every point of time. And what we see now recently in, like it has been happening like repeatedly. So which means that the rules keep changing. So today, like in our session today, we'll see how like leaders are able to shine through these stages of disruption. So we'll have a combination of stories, some case studies, and your reflections, and of course a powerful takeaway that you can apply immediately. So these are the 4 areas I'm going to focus on. The first part is, of course, the uncertainty. That is what the topic is all about. So what kind of a mindset the leaders need to have? So we are talking about uncertainty here. So what is the mindset the leader needs to have so that they'll have clarity in whatever action they take? So depending on their clarity only, they'll be able to apply the tools, right? So that is what we'll be focusing on. So it is all about, like any kind of turbulence you face, like what you see in the picture. There is a lot of turbulence and you see a lighthouse at the end, right? So in cases of turbulence, how exceptional leadership can transform that kind of any kind of turbulence, whatever level be it. Yeah, you can transfer it into a defining moment of growth. That is what exceptional leadership is all about. In some of the slides, you'll see some questions coming up. So you can just like make up your answers, and I'll share a feedback form at the end, and you can give your inputs for the questions in that feedback form. You don't have to submit it or do it right away. Yeah, so we'll move on to the next part. It's all about the storm we are in. So we are talking about uncertainty, right? Which means that you have storm coming into picture. So which means you have like crisis which keeps cascading. There is a cascading effect on any crisis which happens, right? It's like right from the pandemic we came across. Nobody like just predicted that we'll be actually coming across such a situation, right? Like we can't even imagine some kind of disruption bigger than or huger than this COVID pandemic. And then following the AI disruption where everything is happening in a different way. And we see geopolitical shifts everywhere, like including Trump's tariffs or the Operation Sindoor, which happened like unexpectedly. Yes. So those kind of things keep happening again and again. And what do you see? Do you see any kind of similarity in this? It is like it is not happening isolated. It's not like, one disruption is happening and then you wait for a shorter period of time and then another one happens. It's not like that, right? Because uncertainty is actually compounding nowadays. It has a compounding effect or a ripple effect, and it is happening constantly also, right? It is not that it happens here, there. It's not like that. It is keeping on happening constantly. So, as leaders, what does it mean? As an efficient leader, it means that you can't afford to wait. Yes, you can't say that the storm will pass and then you can do what you want to do. It's not like that. You have to navigate along with the storm. That is what people expect as leaders. So, if you have people in your team as leaders, what is that they expect from your end? It means that you should be able to guide them so that you are able to get out of that storm, right? So these are some of the pictures which represent COVID, AI, and the geopolitical shifts which are happening. And we have a question here at the end of the slide. What is the biggest disruption that your team faced in the last 12 months? Yeah, you can think about it and give an answer in the feedback form. So we'll move on to the next part. This is where the real test of leadership comes in. Like as we were discussing in the previous slide, like if everything is calm and if everything is, happening at a constant pace, what happens? Yeah, you have systems in place using which you can lead whatever is happening, right? So in case of stable, predictable environments, what happens is organizations can rely on whatever systems they have in place, isn't it? Because nothing is unusual. So you have processes in place, you have structures to be taken care of. So all these are reliable only in case where you have calm waters, right? Because you have well established procedures, you have protocols in place based on which you can make decisions. In this scenario, what do you think the type of leadership is going to be? Yeah, it's going to be more of the administrative type or a typical managerial type, right? It is like things just work. So you don't need to have much of improvisation in this kind of a scenario. So a leader in this kind of a situation where everything is okay and in the normal way, you can just manage the things, you can monitor the things, and if needed, you're going to optimize it. So that's the role of a leader when everything is happening in the normal way. So the real test comes when you have stormy waters, which means everything is going out of the way. Like it becomes volatile, or you don't have much of data and everything is ambiguous or confusing, or say like something is very disruptive in nature. So in those kind of situations, what happens? Is the existing system just breaks down, which means you can't apply whatever is there in existence. So in this kind of a scenario is where real leadership emerges, right? Because say, for example, you might have some incomplete data, but still you have to make a decision on time. So that situation is not normal, right? It is like very vague or ambiguous. So in these kind of situations where things are like uncertain, so what is that you have to do as a leader? You should be adaptable. You should be courageous enough, to let your team members know that you are making the right decision. So it's like you have to apply your emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence takes a bigger picture here. So it means that a leader should have clarity and take immediate actions on time. But the thing is like you don't have a definite roadmap or a known roadmap. In this kind of situation is where a leader should be able to navigate, guide the team members, inspire them to work. Even though they have like so many doubts or confusions, you have to inspire them and make decisions on time. Yeah, so this is the scenario where the real test of leadership comes in, and I'm sure like pretty much sure like all of you face such situations in like every day of your managerial or leadership role, right? If I'm right, you can just give me a thumbs up. I think like all of you face such kind of situations every day, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's explain this. Like, let's look at an example where the real test of leadership, in fact, was saving lives. It's about saving lives. So the picture you see here, it was like something happened way back in 2009. I'm not sure if all of you know about it. It's called like it happened in 2009 where an Airbus A320 it landed in the Hudson River. Imagine that situation. You can see in the picture, right? People are just standing on the wings. That was like a bird strike happened immediately, shortly after the takeoff. So what happened was like both the engines were disabled immediately. So this kind of a situation, I don't think the pilot will have any manual, right? For whatever situation he faced here. And you just imagine the time frame that he had in place. Just few seconds. Yes. In within that he had to make decisions because it is about saving lives there, right? So he actually drew whatever he had through his training. He was able to stay calm and composed. He was able to assess whatever risk factors was there, everything in fraction of seconds. And the end result of this kind of a leadership, like you can't imagine, every passenger survived. Literally, every passenger survived. So this was a case where like everybody was speaking for a long time. So this kind of a leadership, what does it exemplify? It was like he was able to have that grace under pressure. The situation was totally chaotic, but he was able to make effective decision because the captain was responsible, right, for life or death state. So this is what real leadership looks. Yes, when systems fail. So in such a scenario, human clarity and courage is what is required or at most important in such a kind of scenario. So the ultimate what is that I have to say with this example is like systems can guide you only when you have a clear path in place, right? But you have to be a true leader. Only then you will be able to chart whatever course of action is needed, though you don't have any map. The map just suddenly disappears in front of you, and you have to take your own course of action. Yeah. So let's continue with the next part. So whatever we have seen, the chaotic situations here, how do leaders face it? What are the mindsets that you need to have in place? So we call it as the three core mindsets that leader has to possess so that they are able to do effective decisions with impactful decisions and all that. So why do we map this three core mindsets to the compass? We know about compass, right? Like even if maps are outdated or missing, say for example, if you are in an uncharted territory, a compass will be able to show you the right direction, isn't it? It will not show you the wrong direction. So that is why we map the core mindset of leaders with a compass. So even when the path is unclear, the leaders will be able to make reliable decisions. So a strong compass of effective core mindsets and values will keep them on course. So these are the the following three are the core mindsets. First of all, it's clarity of purpose. You should have confidence even when the situation is ambiguous, and you should be committed to your people. So these are the three mindsets we have. So purpose means why. Why is that you're doing it? Even if your path is not clear, if you have solid clarity in following why, you'll be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. The next one is even though the situation is ambiguous, you should be able to make decisive movements, even though the results are unknown. The next is about commitment to people. It's like all about high pressure. Even if you're under high pressure, people are always our strongest lever. Yes, our team is, you have to support the team. Only then you will be able to take effective decisions. So the first one is about the clarity of purpose. It's about what is the mission you have? What is the core mission? That is what clarity of purpose denotes. We can just give this with an example. Like we all speak about Microsoft, we all speak about Satya Nadella, right? But imagine Microsoft when Satya Nadella became the CEO. at that point of time, Microsoft was actually a very lagging and a very rigid tech giant. That was what people's perception was about Microsoft. So he clarified the purpose. It was to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. That was the mission which was inbuilt by Satya Nadella in the minds of people. It's like not just a slogan, right? Now we know what Microsoft is all about. So this kind of a passionate leader was able to drive the real change in Microsoft, and they were able to shift the focus to cloud first and mobile first applications. And we all know like Office 365 is across Apple Android platforms. They have embraced open source software like not like any other company, like acquiring GitHub. So all these things happen because of effective leader who had a clarity of the purpose. The next one is about confidence in ambiguity. Ambiguity is like you don't have complete information, but still you move forward. Yeah, so you're going to make decisions which are directionally right. Though you have incomplete data, you're going to make meaningful decisions. An example, a very good example is about how Zoom responded during the pandemic. Like none of us would have known Zoom that much, right, before pandemic. But once pandemic stuck, they were able to do like the founder Eric Yuan, like he just didn't freeze. He was able to make use of the opportunity, right? They were able to make daily webinars. They were able to fix Zoom bombing threats. So it was like they were able to choose transparency over silence. So at the end, they were able to build public trust like anything, right? So it was like it went from a niche player to a household name globally during the pandemic. So that was the confidence they had, though the situation was very ambiguous. The next one is about commitment to people. That is the crucial part, right? You should be committed to your people. So which means that you have to prioritize whomever comes under you, the teams or the users. Yes, so you have to be able to give them clarity and improve the morale of your teams. That is very important. An example is like Shopify. Like during the tech layoff waves in way back in 2023, when companies were just laid off ruthlessly, Shopify CEO did not do it. Like he was very humble. He was able to connect with people. And that is where, like leadership responsibility comes into picture. And we all know now, like Shopify retained the talent trust. They were able to build brand loyalty. Yes, so there was no toxic culture spiral happening inside Shopify. And another example of these three core mindsets applied, like during the pandemic again, like when the lockdown hit, a well-known Mumbai cafe, they actually transformed everything, and they made use of this crisis as an opportunity, and they were able to bring shift in each of the areas they were operating in. Like they were able to give community impact through the purpose-driven shift. They were able to, come up with agile innovations through their business model innovation, like launching digital ordering, delivery for curated meal boxes and all that. And they were able to partner with local NGOs and chefs so that they can scale the reach. And they were able to bring clarity of purpose, even under chaotic situations, like they were choosing to stay relevant and being of service instead of chasing profits during the pandemic. And they brought in a lot of digital enablements, which tech enablement transformation through simple like mobile friendly sites which were built like just within a week span. And they used all kind of social media like Instagram, WhatsApp for real time orders and updates, and all these happen. So here the leadership mindset is what is very important, right? So this is just an example of that. So we have seen like you must have come across a lot of C's during your leadership skills training and all that. So we consider like 5 C's as the core principles of exceptional leadership, which starts with clarity. Clarity is like any noise which is happening, you just don't care about that. Yeah, you just cut through the noise. The next one is about courage. Courage is like you're going to face whatever fear comes across, you're just going to face it with courage. The next one is all about communication. Communication is what is going to build trust, right? Like, say, for example, a leader is starting off with 15-minute video updates for all the employees. So that will actually avoid any anxiety or any rumors happening, because they are always connected and people will be able to share whatever they want to, whatever information they have or whatever clarifications they have, they can just do it on the spot, right? The fourth one is all about connection. You should be connected, right? Because only when you're connected, you will be able to get loyalty. And finally, you should be consistent. Like only when you're consistent, you can keep the people grounded. And through consistency is where you can build the trust. Yeah. So from chaos to clarity, how do you do that? How do you achieve, like from a chaotic situation where you are in stormy waters and all that, you achieve clarity, right? So this is the framework which will help you to achieve that kind of a clarity, which is called the ACT framework. ACT framework is all about aligning with whatever values or vision you have. Like we talked about the clarity of purpose, right? So the first one, so you have to align with the values and vision, following which you have to communicate. The communication should happen honestly and it should happen at the right time, not very late. And the communication should be as often as required. Finally, you get the transformation. Once you're aligning with values and you communicate efficiently, you'll be able to transform the complaints into clarity. So this is the ACT tool, which is a very good leadership loop, which will help us to move along and adapt to the changing environments or whatever uncertainties come across. Yeah, so you have to just learn as you move across. We have another example here, like there was a SaaS firm which was able to turn these complaints into product features. Yeah, I think you must have come across such situations in many of your client projects. Like whatever complaints you get from the customers, you actually change that as you actually consider that as a gift, which means the complaints, whatever you're receiving, you just listen, you act on the complaints and see what transformation you can do and grow. Yeah, so it is like whatever user complaints you get, based on that, you're able to get a critical product rollout. That is what this is all about. So say, for example, if the clients were frustrated, they were keeping on reporting bugs, like there was so much lot of missing functionalities. So in such a situation, it is a high tension situation, right? Like some might even threaten to, like we'll just cancel the contracts. You might even come across such a situation. So in such situations, what should be the leader's response? Yes, it should be like you should be able to turn that kind of a resistance into an insight. So it's like you should not be just, like deflecting this blame or hiding from criticism. You are going to take this customer feedback and change it into an innovation fuel, which means like the frequent pain points which are represented by the customer, you can actually change it into new feature releases. And that can be happen within some time frame so that the customer gets happy about it. And you should be able to build like transparency internally so that you have like say for example you have bi-weekly open forums, or you come up with co-owning solutions. So these are some examples of how you can do it. And you are going to rebrand the complaints as co-creations. Like say for example, the customer keeps on giving you some negative feedback. So what do? You give a thank you response to the customer saying that your feedback has actually helped us to come up with this feature. Yeah, so it is like you're going to rebrand all these complaints as kind of a co-creation. So you're going to come up with new features. Yeah, so this is how an efficient leader is able to give response wherein any kind of resistance becomes an insight. So this is applicable in any practical applications. Yeah. So like whatever we have seen here, I just want you to, like carry forward with this kind of a self-reflection. Like it is okay to be ambiguous. Yeah, it's like you will not get all the requirements, right? You'll not be able to get all the data because it's part of the process. Yeah, so you have to, what is that you have to do? You have to guide your hardest calls, and you should be able to lead with both strength and care. So that is what an exceptional leadership is all about. And so I would like you to think upon and, just reflect upon and answer these questions in the feedback form. Like which of the 5 C's matter the most in your role? If you feel everything is important and the priority changes, you can answer accordingly. And I want you all to think of a leader who shined in a storm, which means like it means they have done something differently, right? So what is that they did differently? I want you all to think on that and come up with an answer for that. And I have also attached some worksheets for you. Like you can just go through that and try to answer it. Like, for example, I've given a scenario where flood is disrupting the supply chain. So you have to start using those three C's and describe the first three moves, message to the team, rebuilding customer trust. So this puzzle I want you to solve. I have attached this and I'll share it in the chat once the session is over. You can work on it and you can give it back to us. So it's all about like you are not going to wait for certainty anymore because that is never going to happen. And that is what this exceptional leadership is all about. So never wait for any certainty to happen so that you can lead. It is the other way around. It's like you have to lead so that certainty definitely becomes possible. Yeah. So it's like you're not going to predict the future. Leadership is like you're not going to say like this will happen, that will happen. It's not like that. It's like you're going to shape the future. Yeah, so that will happen only when we are acting with real intention and care. So it's like we are not just going to navigate the storm and just get out of it. Instead, we are going to light the way for others. That is how leadership evolves. Yes. So it's all about embracing ambiguity. You need an anchoring, which means you have a purpose in mind. You should be able to align and do your ACT framework through the 5 C's which we have seen and use it for clarity in every task you take or every action you take. So I want you all to reflect upon all these, whatever we have covered, and just take any idea you have, just one idea, or you might have multiple ideas. Just take one idea today before you go to bed. Yeah, just journal it, try it, and you can share it with us. Yeah, so I would like to thank you all for attending this session. It's like, I would like to say this like, you don't have to be perfect, to be powerful. And I'm glad that you all showed up. That's also leadership, right? Yeah, so it's like you have to keep choosing courage all the time. Like when you are in doubt, you should be able to lead. So that is what I would like to say through this session. I will be sharing some of these resources, which includes the ACT worksheet, a 5C reminder card, a puzzle PDF, and a feedback link. You can all use it and share the feedback link also. Before ending the session, if you have any questions, we can do it now. Meanwhile, I'll just share it in the chat box here, the feedback form and the toolkit. Any of you have any questions, you can just ask me. Yeah, Mithun. Okay. Anybody has any questions, you can ask me.
We can take up any questions, folks. If you have anything, you can put it in the chat or you can directly ask Ratika.
I hope all of you have received the feedback form. You can take your time. You can give your answers and then you can submit it. Yeah, but make sure you all submit it. And I'll also share a toolkit with the session from the session, whatever we had today.
Thanks, Radha. Thanks for your wonderful session. It was really enlightening and it was a great speech. Folks, just fill in the form. It's more of your thought process getting reflected on the leadership when you have a free time on filling up the form. Thank you. Thank you all.
I'll just share the worksheet also. You can download it. Just give me a second. Yeah. So thank you all for attending today's session. I hope you made some. It'll make some impact on your leadership skills, and if you can take like at least one takeaway from this session, I would be very happy. If any of you could unmute and give me one feedback, like any one takeaway you feel you had it, it would be great. Any one of you can unmute and speak.
Hi Ratika, this is Muthu here.
Hi,
It
Muthu.
was a wonderful sessions, and it was helping like as a leaders. We traveled of nearly and 20 years, 2 decades of experience, and we faced so many storms and all. So
Okay.
these kind of frameworks and this kind of predefined frameworks, and this will be helping us, and we learned ourselves actually.
Mhm.
And these sessions will be very helpful for that. Beginners, whoever else
Okay.
will step into this the work, step into this in work cultures initially. So who they will be become a new leaders in future. So these kind of sessions and these kind of frameworks and platform which help them to be make their good leaders.
Okay.
It's a
Thank you,
good
Muthu.
session.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. So if anybody has any questions, you can come up, or I'm done with the session. Okay, so hope you all get to the feedback form and make sure all of you submit it. It's all about the practicalities of leadership. Yeah, and it will be interesting when you answer those questions. Okay. All right. So thank you everybody for attending today's session. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.